When do you find time for, or how do you find time for two things? One, yourself. Two, your marriage.
That's a good question.
These are high level dad questions.
Yeah, these are high level.
My daddy is the best that ever was.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Fatherhood Show. My name is TJ Void. I'm your host, and I'm here with somebody that I've known for 2 decades now. So we started off as college teammates, but I'll let you tell this story, and this is Derek Flora.
What's up, everybody?
So starting off, Derek, so tell us, where you from, man?
Born and raised Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas. What side?
Southwest side.
Southwest
Near
side.
A-Leaf.
Okay, so what high school did you go to?
I went to Fort Bend Stephen F. Austin.
Okay.
But at that time, there wasn't a lot of high schools built. Mm-hmm. So
it's a little different now.
Yeah, it's a little different.
Okay. So obviously Houston, if y'all don't know, Houston is so big that each side is like its own thing.
Absolutely.
Right. And Southwest or SWAT, is what people like to call it, has their thing. They have their people that come out of there, have their stigmas, they're proud of being a certain way. So tell me, how was it growing up on the Southwest side of Houston?
Man, I think it was pretty balanced. You had certain areas that gave you that suburban feel, and then you had certain areas that gave you more of an urban, if you will, feel.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think it provided a great balance as far as shaping and molding me to the man I am. Okay,
good. So how many siblings did you have?
0.
None. Only child?
I was raised in a home as the only child. I was actually adopted.
Okay, yeah. Talk to me about that.
So it's a very, very long story.
Okay.
Maybe we'll talk about the specifics at another time.
Okay.
But I was one of the blessed ones, man. Let's see. Biological mother had me at 16. My biological father was around the same age.
Okay.
15, 16.
Yeah, I didn't know this.
Didn't know him growing up.
Okay.
Didn't know him at all. So was raised by a single mother for a while.
Your mom?
My biological
mom.
mother.
Okay.
Yeah. And so when I say my father,
right,
that's the father
that raised you.
Got you. Absolutely. So my father knew my biological mother just from around, and he saw me with her a couple of times, and he kind of took a liking to me, just took a liking to me. Said, hey, is it cool if I come around and pick him up, take him out?
Yeah.
Take him to the movies, take him to a ball game or something. And yeah, my mom was with it.
Yeah, she needed the help.
Yeah, she knew. Yeah. Basically, it was like, anything that you can provide, she was down with it.
At that point, y'all are kind of growing up together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it went from me going over there every other weekend or so, him and his wife, now my mother, the woman that raised me, and it went to, hey, how about, I want to say I was about maybe like 10 or 11.
Okay. And
they were like, hey, how would you feel about staying with us full time?
Wow.
And I was like, man,
yeah.
I'm just going to tell you, living with my mother, it was very humble beginning. So I'm looking around. I got my own room. Yeah. I got food in the refrigerator, pantry, and it was cool.
Yeah.
And the rest, as they say, was history.
I don't know if people realize, man, how important it is just to have your own space as a kid.
Absolutely, yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like for myself, we moved a lot.
Right.
So there were times that I had a room and a guest room.
Right.
But once things started to slide, they slid for a while.
Right.
And it got to the point that my sister and I shared a room.
Okay.
Worst thing. It was the worst thing in the world.
Man, sharing a room with your sister. Man.
Mind you, we're only 16 months apart.
Oh.
So
okay.
We're, practically twins during the adolescence.
Right.
It was horrible.
Man.
We just lived life differently.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, all right. So back to you. You were adopted at about 10 or 11. Mm-hmm. Did you ever, what was your relationship like with your mom from there?
My biological mother.
Your biological mother.
It was
just kind of.
It kind of fizzled out.
Yeah.
And, I'm not going to lie. being a teenager going through, adolescent stages and stuff like that, I felt some form of resentment.
Okay. That's fair.
That's
fair.
She made some promises.
Right.
When I first entered the adoption, that she didn't keep. Mm-hmm. Basically, hey, I'm gonna come pick you up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, bet. I'm packing my stuff and
yeah.
I'm waiting. You know how you waiting by the door, and it's just like, and after a while, man, I just I can tell that the growth and the love from the mother that raised me, and she never put negative feelings about.
Never said nothing bad about your mom.
Never.
Okay.
In front of me, never. But she always just said, "Hey, pray for your mom."
Right.
And she's, she was like my strength.
Yeah. Like your mom.
Like my mom, man. I mean, she was there. She built me up.
Yeah.
She, so the resentment kind of turned into, I started to see when you get older and you realize, man, she had me at 16 years old. She was still a child herself.
Right.
So she was still growing. She was still like growing as I was as a kid. So it was like, how can I completely fault her for some things at that, for her being at that young age?
So when'd you come to that realization? That was like, all right, she's doing the best she can. She's 16.
Right. I want to say maybe about 17, 18.
That's really early.
Yeah.
Because as an adult, kind of the next level of maturation is realizing that your parents are just people.
Right.
Who just happen to be your parents.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so some of the things that you see, some of the maybe, like in my case, maybe some of the arguments, as you get older, you start to see, oh, okay, I can see why that was an argument.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's interesting, man, because 10, 11 are important years.
Right.
And for you to have that shift and be blessed to be shifted to something that was more positive.
Well,
so
I was always told that I had an old soul.
Yeah.
Everybody always told me
I
that.
can see that.
Like, man, you
For
think
sure.
differently. I actually got along better with adults than I did.
Well, you had to grow up fast.
Kids. Right.
Did you feel that? Like, did you feel like you kind of had, even though you were in a house, at first you knew they wasn't your parents, right?
Right.
And it was, did you feel like, okay, I'm here, but I got to kind of take care of myself?
Not necessarily,
Okay.
man. I felt like that, I guess, when I started going to school, like middle school and high school, and it was like everyone else had siblings. They probably had like that older brother or cousin or somebody around to help get them through that growth stage. And so while I was going through all that with middle school and high school, I was pretty much learning everything on the fly.
Yeah.
So
you were there, the couple that adopted you you were their only child.
Yes.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Man, I don't. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna just be transparent. My mother, she couldn't have children.
Okay.
They tried. Mm-hmm. They told me this, of course, later.
Right.
She had like 2 or 3 miscarriages, and I mean, at that moment, can no one tell me that God doesn't have a plan for our lives? For that to be the case and to come around, I've always said that they're they're the biggest blessings that I've ever had in my life. But on the flip side, they'll tell me that I'm their biggest.
That's what I was going to say, man. It's not like y'all were mutual blessings to each other.
Absolutely.
Like for real, a true symbiotic relationship that you needed them.
Right.
And they needed you, because it's odd anyway that a dude with no kids, was he a coach in the city or anything like that in the area?
Man,
just you see what I'm saying?
You're absolutely right.
That's
Took me
crazy,
in and just raised me as his own.
Okay. So you go through school,
Mm-hmm.
you go to Fort Bend, Austin, you make it out, and you go play college basketball, right? Which is where I met you.
Right.
In college. All right. After college, first of all, was college was that an expectation for you? Were they college graduates?
No, my parents were not college graduates, but it was definitely an expectation
one
for
of those
me.
things.
Right.
Yeah.
It was no question.
Okay, and then you go to Prairie View,
Right.
and you meet your wife there.
Absolutely.
So talk to me about your college experience, though, because I mean, it's not too far from home,
Right.
but your only child, right? You get all the love, attention.
Yeah.
Then you leave.
Pretty spoiled.
And for where we
Pretty spoiled.
when we met, you were probably what 3 hours away at that time in Temple,
Right.
and then you were in Waco first when I first met you, and then Temple. So tell me how that was, leaving that nest, leaving that comfort, going off by yourself, and just kind of having to figure it out from there.
Are you talking about at Temple or PV?
Both, when you just left in general.
Okay. So
and then we'll talk about what sent you to P. What made you choose PV?
Okay. Temple, man. My dad is he's just the type of person, like, he's a boy dad, man. Like, it's just like hey man, you got to figure it out.
Yeah. Explain that to me, because girl dads after the Kobe death, right? Touted, which we'll talk about, because you have 3 daughters, which is what I want to talk to you about.
Yes, Lord.
That's a whole different. We're gonna get touch on that, but when you say boy dad, right? In my mind, that registers is like he's a dude,
right?
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like stop crying,
right? Like a man's man.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I love him for it.
Yeah.
It was hard at that time, but it was he needed me. He prepared me to be a man, like how to be a father, a protector, a man out in the street. Like, these are the rules.
Yeah.
He took me places where most parents probably wouldn't want their kids to go. I was rolling with my pops.
Do you know his background? Like where he grew up?
Yeah.
Where did he grow up?
He grew. Him and my mom both grew up in Wharton, Texas.
Okay.
So country folks, high school sweethearts,
fend for themselves.
Yeah. You know, typical country upbringing.
Yeah.
Very close knit, family oriented.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Good. All right. So he gave you these skills, right? Through the tough love avenue.
Right.
And you go off to Temple, play some basketball, and then now you're down to you have to, because Temple's a junior college, so it's a 2-year institution.
Right.
And then now you go to where you have to choose where you're going to finish college.
Right.
Why PV?
Man, it kind of happened. It's another long story, but ultimately I had some other offers on the table.
Which, if y'all don't know, if you watch Last Chance U, the basketball edition, that's how it is. It's just a mess,
man.
And coming out of it is a whole different mess.
Right.
So go ahead. So when he says that's a long story, I'm sure it's truly a long story.
It's definitely, doggy dog. Like,
for sure.
Everybody scrapping, everybody trying to get theirs. And but anyway, so I ultimately chose Prairie View. I went to visit, loved the campus, told my father about it. He was ecstatic. Like, he wasn't even ecstatic about the other 4-year institutions.
Right.
But when I said Prairie View, HBCU, it was like,
okay.
He loved it.
That was his thing.
And
he wanted you to go to HBCU, deep down in his heart.
Yeah, but I didn't ultimately know that until I told him, hey, I have this offer to go play ball at Prairie View. And when I saw how ecstatic he was about it, man, I was just like, oh, wow. And he loved the fact that it was close, that they can come to all the home games.
Yeah.
And so it was a no-brainer.
Right.
So I ended up going to Prairie View, man. And I pretty much pride myself on being somewhat of a chameleon. Like, you can put me in any environment. I feel like I can adapt.
Do you feel like your dad taking you to those different environments?
Absolutely.
With that?
Absolutely. I think that definitely helped. And our conversation before this, we both pretty much attested the same thing. We could pretty much go to any environment and adapt.
Isn't it strange how, like, some of the things your parents do when you're a kid, you're like, what are we doing?
Absolutely.
But then it materializes as an adult.
Yeah.
And you're just like,
okay. And I'm giving my parents hugs and kisses and thank yous as an adult that they should have gotten as a kid, because you had no idea.
Okay, so you meet your wife at Prairie View. We're at Prairie View now.
Right.
So you're what, 21, 22?
Yeah.
So we're at Prairie View, and you guys end up getting married. How long after college?
It was about 4,
Okay.
and a half.
Okay.
She played ball too. So that was the avenue that we met. And I mean, I thought she was, I thought she was fine when I first saw her. But when I saw her hoop, I was like,
that added a little extra
I was
sauce.
like, oh man,
I gave you some sauce.
That's me. That's me right there.
Plus, I mean, if we're talking about planning the future,
right? Yeah,
hoopers want hoopers.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So speaking of which, planning for the future. So y'all have your first daughter before or after you get married?
Before.
Okay, so you have it. You find out
senior year of college.
Yeah. Talk to me about the phone call that you get when it's like, we need to talk.
Man, it's crazy because
Yeah,
you know, but you get the phone call and you still act surprised and shocked.
Yes.
I'm like, what do you mean? but I knew.
Right.
And so it was just it was time to make a decision. It was grown up stuff, from the gate. And and this was like, I want to say this was around basketball season, around senior year.
Okay. When she found out she was pregnant. Okay.
And it got to the point, I mean, she played
right
while she was, until it got to the point where it was, hey, we need to make some grown up decisions here.
Yeah.
So we talked about it. Thank God she was still able to keep her scholarship.
Right.
But we had to make a decision.
So did she play? She played most of that season.
She played most, but she had to stop on the back end.
Okay.
And that conversation with my parents. So that was the rough part.
Did you feel like you let them down?
A part of me did. Yeah, a part of me really did. I didn't want to be that. Everybody has these plans, you know. You have these plans, and so I didn't want it in that fashion. I've always, even as a kid, knew I wanted to be married with kids. You usually hear about girls talk about that. But as a kid, I knew. Because
that's what you saw.
Absolutely.
Okay. Man, that plays a huge role.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. It does. So we tell my parents. My mom, for some reason they always know.
Moms know, right?
She
all
knows.
right, so my senior year, I got a girl pregnant, and I called my mom, and my mom said the same thing. She goes, I knew. I just know.
I was just waiting.
I'm your mama, is what she always says.
I'm your mama.
I know. So all right, so you find out she's pregnant. You talk to your mom.
Right.
What'd your dad say?
My dad said, all right, son, it's time to be a man.
Time to man up. Same type of deal.
It's like the same situation. It's time to be a man.
Yeah.
It's time to step up and be a man.
Yep.
And
did you ever ask him, what does that mean?
I didn't.
Yeah.
I just kind of felt like he's been grooming me all this time.
Right.
The scary, and you know what? The sad part about it, the scary part, in any other situation, I would be afraid of my father. But in that situation, I was more afraid of my mother.
Right.
And
why do you think that is?
Because this is the first thing she said. So my wife, Tiffany, told my mom, so she was like, so what about basketball? And what about your scholarship?
Right.
That's what she was worried about.
Like
my wife's education.
You didn't want your mom to feel like you were ruining
somebody else's life.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So she told my mom, I have to stop playing basketball, but I'm fortunate enough to be able to keep my scholarship.
Gotcha.
And my mom said, she looked at me and said, so what are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
And I'm like,
I knew that was the next question.
So are you going to quit the team? She has to put something she loves to do to the side.
Well, yeah.
To help with the baby.
Right.
So what are you going to do? And I'm like, my mama almost made me quit.
Yeah.
The basketball team.
Man, that's a lot to think about.
Oh man, and it's because she felt like, that's not right.
It's not
for
right.
you to be able to go and do
whatever you want to do
whenever you want to do.
Got it. So now the next conversation that you got to have is with your wife's parents.
Right.
How was that?
You know what? Her conversation was over the phone.
Okay.
I was lucky.
Yeah.
My wife is not from Houston. My wife is from Flint, Michigan.
So you didn't have to look.
I didn't have to, nah. So, so the conversation was on the phone, and her parents had already met me.
Okay.
So I guess they
wasn't just a random dude. So
right.
okay.
It is exactly.
Yeah.
So I think they felt a little bit more comfortable,
Right.
knowing that, hey, I'm gonna be there.
Yeah.
This is what the deal was, and
okay,
that was that.
So did you have a preference when you found out that she was pregnant? Your girlfriend at the time was pregnant. Did you have a preference, boy or girl?
Of course I did.
You wanted a boy.
I wanted a boy.
So what happened when you found out it was a girl?
Man, it was like this this pit in my stomach, man.
Why
I was
though?
just like,
why?
Just because I didn't know. My dad's always taught me and raised me how to be a man.
Dude, right.
How do I raise, a girl to be a woman?
Yeah, that's a real fear.
It was a big fear. So,
For me, I'm glad that I have one, toddler. And I just, my sister has kids. She has boys and girls.
Right.
I don't know what to do with the girls. Like, I can't. I give them a strong lecture, but if they cry, that's over.
Or is this over?
Yeah, my nephews, they can. I don't care if they can cry till they
Right,
faint,
right.
whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You deserve what you got.
Right.
But girls, I don't have it, man.
Yeah.
I don't think I have it in me. So now you go on. She has the baby. Now it hits you that you. First of all, I'll tell you, for me, it didn't really hit me that I was a father right away. It didn't. I have this weird mode that I go into that I just do stuff. I don't really think about it.
Right.
It didn't hit me until my wife's mom left. And it was just me and her. And we just looking at each other like, okay, well, I guess we got to figure this out. Right. So 2 questions I asked. When did it hit you like, dang, I'm a father? And what was it like what was your experience like with your first daughter at the beginning? A baby.
So baby's here?
No, your baby.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She's here, or
she's
are we
here.
still going through the pregnancy?
Nope, she's here.
Man, I still remember, man, when she had her, and I boo-hooed, man. I cried like a baby.
Yeah.
I cried, and I told her thank you. I just kept telling my wife thank you.
Wow.
Because you see what they go through.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, man.
It's a lot. I'm so glad I'm a man. Don't have to deal with that.
I just kept telling her thank you. And I just cried. Man.
Yeah.
So anyway,
so baby comes real life human being now.
Real life human being. And the thing was, man, the funny thing was, I had some offers to go play ball overseas.
Okay.
I said, I have to wait till my daughter's here.
Yeah.
Guess who said I had to wait?
Your mom.
Absolutely.
That's right.
So
one thing about your parents, I'm learning, they keep it consistent, man.
They keep it very consistent. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna wait.
Yeah.
Had the little offers on hold. It wasn't like for no big money.
Right.
Just trying to keep the dream alive.
That's right.
You
dreams die hard.
Yeah, man. So it wasn't for no big money or nothing. I just wanted to keep hooping. So she said, you have to wait till your baby gets here, and wait till you graduate. Mm-hmm. So all this pretty much is happening around the same time, and I helped my daughter for the first time, dude, and
it was over.
It was over, And it wasn't until, I want to say, my daughter was maybe 1 or 2. My mom said, I knew if I made you stay until she was here, you wouldn't leave.
Yeah. You wouldn't have had that immediate response to it.
Right.
And you wouldn't have seen your wife go through what she went through.
Right.
It matters, dog.
Right.
I mean, when we were having our son, it wasn't a rough pregnancy, honestly. But it was just just stuff. Like, I'm like, man, you got 17 pillows. You're not comfortable. And I'm sitting over there like.
They're just tossing and turning, man. And she's uncomfortable and just dealing with.
You think it's a whole human.
A whole human.
So, and then you as a man, you can't say, like, what you going to say?
Nothing.
You know what I'm saying? You just trying to tread lightly to make sure you don't.
Whatever you want. Hey, is there anything else you need? What else can I get you? Like, you know.
Oh man, that's crazy. So okay, so your daughter, she comes, you know, you fall in love with her. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like at the beginning, because we all have in our mind what kind of dad we're gonna be, right? Now, knowing you wanted a boy, now you have a girl. Do you feel like early on you were the dad that you thought you were gonna be?
Did I know early?
Yeah. So for me, I thought I was gonna be like a strict father.
Okay.
I'm not.
No. Right.
So, and I don't think I ever really was.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, even when he's a baby, I'm like, all right, we're going to make sure, you know, he's not going to eat fast food. We're going to...
Right.
It becomes survival
Oh,
really
my
quickly.
gosh. Yes. Quick.
So
Right.
do you feel like in terms of, you know, because you were raised to be, like, manly, like
Right.
hard, you know, just a dude. So
Right.
now you have a girl. How did that change?
Well, either...
Did you hold on, before you answer, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No,
Did you
you
feel
good.
like you made a conscious effort to say, okay, I can't do this. I need to make sure that I do that.
Are you saying just as a father in general or as a father of a daughter?
A father of a daughter. Like, yeah.
I think the expectation would still be the same either way.
Okay.
Just different.
Okay.
I knew that I was going to try to be the best dad I possibly could for
Right.
the simple fact that my biological, even though I had a man in my life
Right.
that raised me and is an amazing father.
Right.
That like that's my dad. That's my father. But you know, my biological father, for him not to be around, I knew I'm gonna be way better 10 times the
So
father.
you've never met him. I mean, you don't have a relationship with him at all.
It's funny. That's a whole nother story.
Okay.
I finally met him right before me and my wife got married.
Wow.
Like literally right before.
You said you met your father right before you and your wife got married.
Right.
So you knew, because your biological father wasn't there, but you were
Right.
blessed to have a good father, or
Right.
a father figure that's your dad.
Right, that's
for
my
all
dad.
for all intents and purposes.
Period.
That you knew you wanted to, one, not be like your biological father.
Right.
Two, you wanted to kind of be the person for your daughter that your dad was for you.
Right.
When did you feel like you got into the groove of fatherhood? Because so for me, when the first time I had to watch my son by myself was spring break, because I'm in education.
Right.
Of, you know, he's 3 months old.
Okay.
I had no idea what to do. He kicked my butt up and down his house. I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't know how to lay him down. You know, I'm calling his mama like, I don't know. Tell me something. Like,
Right.
what am I supposed to do?
Right.
So it just got to the point that when he went to sleep, I laid down, he laid on me. We both went to sleep.
We both went to sleep. Yeah. I mean, that's the way it works. I mean, whenever you sleep, he sleeps. Whenever you up, he gonna be up. But I'm not even gonna lie to you, man. And it may sound crazy.
Nah, go ahead.
But it came natural.
Yeah.
A lot of things came natural. So my wife had to get C-sections.
Yes.
Basically, for all three of our children.
Yeah.
But so she had a C-section, and no, she couldn't move around.
Anything.
She
Yeah.
couldn't do anything.
That's a surgery. That's a major surgery.
Major surgery.
Yeah.
So it was basically, I want to say she really couldn't move around for maybe 3 weeks, almost like 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
And so it was me doing the late night feedings.
Yeah.
The up all night.
Yep.
The moving around, making the bottles, doing the whole nine, man. And I mean, it was some nights, man, like especially like the first one. The first one is the hardest.
Yeah, you have no idea what
I'm not even gonna lie to you. So I remember one night, man, she was just crying, crying. I changed her, fed her. She's just crying. I'm rocking her, walking around with her, she's crying. And I thought about it. I said, every time we go for a drive,
Yeah.
she falls asleep.
No, that's real.
I'll never forget. It was 3:17 a.m. in the morning. 3:17.
My boy got the time.
I put her in that car seat.
Yeah.
We got in the car, and I just rode, man.
Yeah.
I just rode. She gave a few little whines here and there.
That was it.
I hit a few blocks. She was out of there.
Bruh, I ain't gonna hold you like
Is that?
there's been times, because again, I do agree that there was because I had my son in the middle of basketball season. I was coaching basketball at the time.
Oh man.
So his birthday is December. So I had to miss a game.
That's prime.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So there's a picture that we took in the hospital that I'm watching game film. He's 2 days old and he's like right here. You know what I'm saying? Because I gotta work.
You gotta work.
Yeah. So I'm up late, like you said. My wife had the major surgery, and it bothered her quite a bit. That's a whole different story.
Right.
About the doctor that I still, I wanna lay hands on.
But that's also that's where the thank you comes from.
Yeah,
dude.
Man,
like that's just
rough.
so much.
It's rough. So I would just take him out of the car seat sometime. Mm-hmm. He just sleep in the car seat. It is what it is, bro.
No,
because I have a similar story. At 4 months, unfortunately, my wife's grandma passed away. She's like, the matriarch of the family.
Oh man, yeah.
So we go down there. He's 4 months old, and they're excited. Right. Like, oh my God, BJ, da 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 da. And he's looking like this is a lot of people.
Too much, right?
You know what I'm saying? He had to fly on a plane.
Man.
All right, so going there, he was fine. But then it's just overload. He's thrown off his schedule. And so I'm talking about screaming. So I do the same thing. I finally say, look, here's what we're going to do. I know y'all love him. I'm sorry. I take him, put him in the car. We roll. And I don't even know where I'm at. I'm in Pennsylvania.
Right.
But I know if I hit GPS, I ain't going to get lost. And same thing. He ended up just going to sleep, man. You got to do what you got to do. Back to it. So you get into the groove. Okay. Your daughter starts to grow up. Now, how old was she when you found out y'all were having number 2?
She was... I'll say she was 3.
Okay, 3 years old, which is an interesting time.
Right.
Yeah. People say terrible 2s. I think it's 3s, man.
Yeah, it might be 3.
3s are much worse.
Yeah.
Because they can talk now.
Yeah, right.
You don't want to tell your kid, hey, man, just don't talk.
Right.
That's it.
So chill out.
Just chill.
Right.
Like, again, having a boy, he likes to flip and run and do. He just tries to commit suicide all day, pretty much.
Right.
So you say you're having number 2, right?
Right.
And it's another girl.
Right.
How are we feeling? Was it kind of like I was like, all right, I got some experience here.
No, it was like, but it didn't last long.
Right.
It didn't last long. I don't think there was one man that didn't want the boy.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm not going to lie to you though. Whenever I thought it was a boy, especially on the second one, because, you always think the next one.
Right.
The next one.
Right.
I was more nervous thinking that, what if it is a boy? I don't like when, and you hear this a lot. Man, you got 3 girls. You really got to watch your kids. You really got to do this. I'm like,
right.
I'm thinking, I felt a certain type of way. I feel like it's still the same. It should be the same either way. I felt like if I was having a boy, man, I have to raise a black man. I got to raise a black man. I got to raise a father,
right?
A man, a protector.
Yeah.
You got
to break family curse,
right, man. You got to teach them the game.
Yeah.
You got to. It's a lot, and so.
Man, I never thought about it like that.
But they both come with their own.
Yeah.
With their own thing, and it's crazy as it sounds. My wife wanted a boy more than me. She wanted 3 boys. Really? She wanted 3 boys.
Why?
I don't know.
She just feel like it's easier?
I have no idea. But I knew I at least wanted a girl. Right. But I'm happy as all get out now to be a girl dad.
So you have the second daughter. Mm-hmm. Your other daughter is 3, probably going on 4 at this point.
Right.
All right. You have your second daughter. Do you feel like the initiation process was easier? Because here's what they tell me. Again, I only have 1 kid. They tell me with the first kid, you buy all this stuff, and you're worried, and then by the second kid, you're like, look, man.
Right. They fall out. You're like, oh, hey,
they ain't gonna break.
They're right. Yeah.
Okay, so that's true.
Right.
All right, so good.
It's definitely true.
All right, so that's true. So, but your daughter your second daughter is how old now?
She's 12.
She's 12.
Right.
But she is autistic.
No.
My little one.
The
oldest one. Talk to me about that. Sorry about that. So talk to me about, when did you guys take her? Like, was there something that happened that said, okay, we need to go to the doctor? Or talk to me about that experience.
I just know that there was just some cues that we picked up on.
Okay. Because back then, your oldest daughter's what, 15? How's
right
your
now?
oldest one? Yeah,
she's 16 now.
16. So,
Right.
but I mean, back then when she was younger, people didn't even really understand what autism was.
Right.
So what were the cues that you were picking up on and said, okay, we need to get this checked out?
Well, I know it's funny, man, because at one time she could speak in complete sentences.
Okay.
Like she could repeat, she can do certain things, and then it was just like all of a sudden it just stopped.
Wow.
She wasn't speaking in complete sentences. The verbiage that she was using just wasn't making any sense.
Okay.
And her social cues just
That's a big one.
Everything, you're just looking and you're just like, something ain't right.
Right.
We're taking her. Now she could talk, she could count,
Yeah.
she can do all those things.
Yeah.
And but all of these things are based on like memory. Like she's memorized the sequence of
Yeah.
like,
which is another thing
Right.
that autistic people share.
right.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
we're taking her to the doctor, man, and the doctor's like, hey, no, she's fine, man. Everything's good. I mean, I don't see any.
How old was she then?
She was, I want to say maybe 4.
Okay.
4 or 5.
So you already have your second daughter at this point.
Yes.
Okay.
And the crazy part is like we had her. So at school, we had her in a private school, and smaller classrooms, and the teacher, you could tell when our teacher had taken a liking to her when she first started going there. She just just absolutely loved her.
Right.
They both were just really close, and she called us one day and she said, I would love to have a talk with you guys, and so we talked to her, and she said she noticed a few things.
Yeah.
Same things that we were picking up on.
Yeah.
So we decided to take her to the doctor again.
Right.
It was still kind of like the same thing. And then finally it got to a point where we found somebody, they did more thorough testing. And yes, we got the news.
So what was that? How did you guys, what went through your body when you found out that your baby now was autistic? And again, this is probably 10 or 12 years ago at this point. So it's still like up in the air. People aren't as we don't know as much. They aren't as well versed in autism. So what was you guys' initial feeling?
Man, it was a hard day.
Yeah.
It was kind of like you knew, but then when you get the news,
The realization of it.
realization, and man, it was a rough day, because you just don't know what to expect.
Right.
Everyone wants the best for their child.
Right.
You don't want them to have to deal with any extra challenges.
Yeah.
That
you want to protect them.
You want to protect them.
Right.
And I just, and it was new to us.
Yeah.
Like you said, a lot of people really didn't know too much about it unless they were
Right.
dealing with it
Right.
already. And so after we got over ourselves and we prayed about it, and it was just like, all right, well, we're going to do everything we can to help her and to make sure that she's successful.
Right.
And then on top of that, we're going to educate ourselves.
So that's big what you said. I don't want to just skip past that, man. You said after we got over ourselves. What does that mean?
That means that a lot of people, I've seen the opposite. I've seen where there are some things that you may see that maybe a child may be on the spectrum. You don't know, but I feel like, I just want to say this. I feel like parents, you shouldn't be in denial because of yourself.
Take it personally.
Because it's not about you.
Right. Okay. Yep.
It's not about you. It's about the child.
Yeah.
The earlier we figure this thing out,
Right.
the earlier we can get help.
Right.
And the better off the child is going to be.
Right.
Instead of pushing it to the wayside,
Try not to be embarrassed.
Try not to be embarrassed. Right. Exactly. Right. And so that's what I meant by that. Getting over ourselves, because we we were so upset.
Yeah.
Like
Thinking there was something wrong with it. Like, why is this happening to us?
right.
Yeah.
You start getting those thoughts.
Yeah.
You start getting those
natural.
thoughts.
Natural
it's natural,
Yeah.
but then again, when we scaled back,
Yeah.
we got it together. All right, let's game plan. Let's figure this out. Let's get the ball rolling. And that's what we've been doing. And she's making amazing strides.
Yeah.
Man.
So what was that process like? So you educate yourself. Was there special programs? Did she have to do, get in different classes? You know, I know in education, not to get too nerdy in education, but they have like modifications.
Right.
Right. Did y'all have to make sure she got those in school?
Yeah. So she went through the special education department,
Right.
and she got modifications and things of that nature. She got speech help.
Okay.
But the thing was, it wasn't overkill.
Right.
As far as we're trying to make her grow.
There you go.
So in order for growth to take place, there has to be struggle. You have to make them push themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to spoon feed them information. Like, all right, here are the answers.
Right. All
right, hey, this is how you do this. No, you gotta. And the crazy part about it is that she's, as far as the spectrum is concerned, a lot of people say this, man, I can't tell.
Right.
But we know. And she has difficulty. She used to, she's getting better now. Mm-hmm. It's like, but she used to have difficulty thinking outside of the box. So if you used sarcasm,
literal, she's really literal,
very literal. Yeah. But now, I mean, I mess with her all the time.
Yeah.
I'll throw a little joke out there and I'll try to keep a straight face.
Right.
And she'll kind of look at me and say, "Dad, stop."
Wow.
The growth is, but I attribute to all the people that we've had in her life that have helped her along her journey, but also us with the early detection and getting her the help that she needs quickly. So
talk to me about, so as a dad, right? This is your baby. This is your girl, your oldest, your first.
Right.
Y'all grew up a little bit together. She kind of taught you how to be a dad, so to speak.
Right.
She's your first splash into the deep end.
Right.
And you get this news she's autistic. You see her struggling. So talk to the dads out there. How do you? Because it sounds like you. I want to ask two questions. So number one, where did you get that just push to just handle business? Like, all right, I know this sucks. It does, and I'm sure there were hard. Some days were harder than others. But how did you get that initial? All right, we got to come together, and like, where does that come from? Let's come together. Let's get over ourselves, and let's just move forward with making this better. Like, where does that come from?
I want to say I attribute that to my parents, my mother and my father. Like, and I already told you what type of man my father was, and it was just kind of, you can have your moment. You can have your moment, but then what are you gonna do about it?
It's a moment.
You got to move on.
That's right.
Life goes on.
Okay.
And so that was just basically what it was, man. Yeah. We get her extra tutoring. She works very hard.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
And I see a lot of parents that they fight the SPED thing, the special education thing, because like you said, now that you say it, it makes sense that it's like they feel like, well, there's nothing wrong with them,
right?
And because they're taking it personally,
right?
Like as if there's something wrong with me, and it ain't. There's nothing wrong at all.
No,
it's just they need this because you want them to be the best, and this is what it requires.
Right.
So, I want you to kind of talk about how in those rough days where you're trying to you're pushing her, you see her struggling. How do you get through those days?
Man, it's I'm like having kids though, and I'm sure you can attest to this, and especially me being a girl dad, man, they made me so soft. Like I get so emotional, man, like for no reason.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's my baby, man. Like so seeing her struggle, it it's hard, man.
Right.
And it's we hit these speed bumps. Like, people from the outside looking in are like, oh wow, she's doing amazing, she's doing this, she's doing that. Yes, she is, but there's still behind the doors, behind the closed doors, it's still a lot of work. She has to study extra, man. Like, she has to work extra hard to get stuff. And she has these moments, and I don't know, the conversation where we actually sat her down and told her was very difficult.
Tell me about that. First of all, how old was she when y'all had that conversation?
It was before middle school.
Okay. Do you feel like she felt like there was something going on, like she couldn't keep up and things like that? Like, because I guess my question is, what pushed you guys to actually have that conversation with it?
Because I can get the vibe. It's funny that you say that. I can kind of get the vibe that she's kind of telling herself, like,
something's going on.
What's going on? You know, or if she doesn't understand something, why are they looking at me like this?
Right.
And so Mom and my wife, we decided to sit her down and we had a conversation, and there were tears.
Yeah. And
we told her, hey, there is nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. It's you just learn differently.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
You just learn differently.
And y'all told her that it was actually like the name of it. This is Autism.
Absolutely. She knows, and now, man, she's proud.
An advocate.
She's proud.
Right.
And but that conversation was hard, and we still have these days, man. She'll have these kind of breakdowns, and she'll wonder. 'Cause, I mean, being a teenager is hard enough already, you know. So it's emotions, hormone, like, it's just
a lot of stuff.
It's a lot. So she'll have these days where she's just like, "Why me?
Yeah.
Why am I dumb?" And that's hard, bro. It's hard when you see your baby girl like where she doesn't feel like she's enough.
Yeah, because that's a multi-level conversation, right?
Right.
The why me, why am I having this? It's like, you know, you got social things going on, you got academic things going on, and it's just a lot to deal with. Like you said, being a teenager, specifically a teenage girl in these times, is just a whole, that's a lot to deal with on top of what she has to deal with, you know, that's beyond her control.
Right.
She's at the point now where she's kind of an advocate. She's proud of what she's able to accomplish, because now she's like, you know, on the dance team at the school and all of that. How is that though? Like, how does she do with that? Is she able to memorize the steps? Does she work? Talk to me about that.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
She's been dancing since she was 7. That was really the only thing she pretty much gravitated towards.
Wow.
So she danced company. So she did ballet, contemporary, jazz, like all of it.
And you as a dad, just, you know, and your wife, obviously, you guys, you know, intentionally poured into what she loved. Right.
Whatever it was, I mean, we were going to be there for it. Right. I mean, when she first started dance, man, I couldn't tell you any dance terminology. Now I could.
Now you own it.
Now I can tell you
you're
what
a dance dad.
Yeah, now I can tell you what plie is. I'd be like, hey girl, point. You better point them toes. Point your feet. You know. That's
good. Yeah, it gives her a sense of accomplishment, right? Which is important, man, because I just really want to drive home the point to parents and fathers and mothers that, man, if your kid needs special ed, then they need special ed. Not only do they need it, but you need to be on those counselors to making sure they're getting what they need.
Absolutely. You gotta be there. And they gotta see you. And they gotta know that, man, I better be on my stuff. Because I know they're gonna be up here. And they're gonna backtrack everything it is that I'm doing with their child. That's right. Hold them accountable. Yeah.
I think an important thing you guys did, though, is that you guys didn't allow her to have a crutch. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. Up front with her, told her what it was. Let's cry the tears. That's okay. You know, there'll be more tears. Right. You know, but if you need to study extra, we're going to study extra. That's just what we're going to do. Right. So then, you know, your oldest daughter's a dancer. Right. You know, you being a basketball player, your wife being a basketball player. Your second baby is a hooper. Right. Okay. So talk to me about that. Like, when did you find out Like, did you push her to play basketball, or did you find out that she just liked it, so we just gonna go for it? Because it seems like you guys just, you kind of, whatever your kids like, you go in on it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So talk to me about when you found out that she loved basketball.
Man, I was I was like, I got me one.
Yeah.
So, but no, we didn't push her. We put her in every, we tried, we had our oldest in dance, so we were like, all right, you could try dance. She took the classes. You could just tell, like, this is cool, but whatever. We put her in soccer. She did well in soccer. We just put her in everything. She did track.
Yeah.
She did track, and then we put her in basketball, and she took a liking to both track and basketball, and we just hit the ground running. And I mean, she just loves it.
Do you have to monitor yourself as a guy who played basketball with hoop dreams? Do you have to monitor yourself with not your involvement, but like, all right, let's not do too much. She's still a kid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. Me and mom, like, man, mom don't play.
Moms are much worse.
Man.
Moms are worse.
Yes, she comes from a basketball family.
Okay.
Like, that's
what they do.
It's real. Yeah.
Okay.
Her dad was her high school basketball coach.
That's interesting.
Tough.
That's interesting.
So, but yeah, I mean, you got to learn to scale back, because I don't want to be the reason. I don't want to push her away from something that she enjoys doing. I don't want to turn something that she enjoys into something that she dreads.
That's key. So, you don't want her to hate it because of you when it's something that she really loves.
Absolutely.
Because the memory's tied to it. She hates. She doesn't hate. Yeah, that's important, because that happens a lot, man. My sister grew up, and their basketball team was really ranked number 1 in the nation and all kinds of stuff like this. Not many of those girls even finished.
This was at Copper's Cove, right?
Copper's Cove.
Yeah, they were nice.
Not many of those girls finished college playing basketball. Dang. Yeah, and they look back now and they still love it, but it was just the experience. They didn't. It was a lot.
It becomes a job. It's like, it
was a lot.
You're right.
So now you have your oldest daughter. Mm-hmm. You have your youngest. your middle daughter. Then you guys find out you're pregnant again. Mm-hmm. What are the age ranges now?
So they're typically 4 years apart.
4 years apart. So now the oldest one is probably 8. Mm-hmm. The middle one is 3 or 4.
4-ish. Yeah.
And then you have the third one.
Yep.
Were you just like, at that point, were you like, okay, I'm done?
Yeah, I was.
Because it's another girl.
Yeah, it's another girl.
It's another girl.
So when I got the news about that one, I was like, all right, let's go. Like, it is what it is. Three times is a charm, and so we just. It wasn't anything like the first two when I got the news.
Right.
This one I was like, I'm an experienced girl dad.
Yeah.
Like, I'm ready.
Yeah.
So
it's old hat to you at this point.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you have 3 girls in the house, man. In my head, right? Because again, my sister has kids. My sister has 2 sets of twins.
Oh.
Okay.
What?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. But see, she had 3 for a while. And to me, 3 is a circus, bro. Like, I see how you do it, because just hearing you talk, I can see how you guys manage it. But just from the outside looking in, it looks like you guys are outrageously busy.
Right.
Like this one here, because dance is a lot in itself.
Right.
Basketball is a lot as well. And then you got the little one,
right,
who I'm sure you guys are probably trying to figure out what it is that we're going to do. Mm-hmm. How do you manage this, man? How do you balance this world of children?
Man, communication.
Yeah.
Between
you and your wife.
Wifey and myself, it's like, hey, we just make it work, man. Yeah. It's just, and I'm not gonna lie. We have a tight knit village,
right,
that we trust that helps us out a lot as well. And yeah,
and their personalities, I'm sure are they 3 different personalities, or are they kind of
totally different, man? Totally different.
They're women.
I'm like, both of y'all. I'm like, all 3 of y'all came from both of us, and they're just totally different.
Right.
So
with that, man, with your busy schedules and your village, when do you find time for, or how do you find time for two things? One, yourself. Two, your marriage.
That's a good question.
These are high level dad questions.
Yeah, these are high level. You start finding out how much you need that. I think as the years go on, like at first, between me and wifey, it was just about the kids. We gotta get the kids here. We gotta go to work.
Yeah.
And then after work, we gotta get the kids here.
Yeah.
Kids. And then we said, hold up, wait a minute. Like, we need to find time for ourselves. Right. Like we have to, because it got to a point where we were doing this with each other, not because of, it wasn't even bad. It was just, it'd be like just little.
Yeah. You just ain't spending enough time together.
You're not spending any time with each other. And so we're like, hold on, wait a minute. Like we need to focus on us.
Yeah.
And we need to make sure that our marriage is intact for them.
Okay, yeah.
So as long as we're clicking on all cylinders, it's going to make it better for the three of them.
So you guys got to make sure that you're on one accord on every level so that you can be the parents that you're running around breaking your neck trying to be.
Absolutely.
That makes a lot of sense, man. That makes a lot of sense. So how do you, we kind of talked about it and how you were raised, but you were raised as an only child, right? How does that affect you being a dad now of 3 kids and they have to have some sort of relationship, right, with each other? And how do you manage that based on how you were raised as an only child? You didn't really have to think about anybody else, no siblings or anything like that.
Right.
How does that play into your role now as the father that you are now?
Well, as far as them being siblings, my wife, she came from a house of, it was 4 of them.
Oh, wow.
So she knows how that goes.
Yeah.
And, as far as balancing them, as far as with me being dad, I have my own individual relationship with all 3 of them. Like, yeah, we'll do the daddy daughter, like it's girls. I'm finna take y'all out. Dad's gonna take all of y'all out, but I have to make sure that I give time to each one individually as well, so that they have a.
So just you and one of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like so that they all have a piece of me, I feel like that's important to have just their individual relationship with their father as well, so they can see. You kind of give them ideas, what you want from a man when it goes down that road. It's like you're almost grooming them. They're they're not thinking about. Of course, my 7-year-old, she's not thinking about boyfriends and stuff right now, but you're planting a seed. Right. So when she does start thinking about that, oh man, this guy has to be like my dad. That's what I'm hoping. That's what every dad.
You end up a lot of times, man. Women end up dating their dads, and men end up dating their moms, for better or for worse. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it's along that line, right? You have no boys, and you talked about your fear of possibly raising a boy. What fears do you have raising girls? Like, give me your most the thing you're most fearful about.
I think because as men and as fathers, we have a protective instinct already. I want to be able to protect them at all times. I want to be there for them at all times. But there's going to come a time where I'm going to have to let them go, and just trust that everything that I've raised them to be, the women that I hope them to be, strong, independent, that my wife and I, we've taught them, okay, we gotta, you gotta let them go. But my fear is, I don't like to talk about my fears. I don't like to put stuff out into
put it in the universe.
atmosphere.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't like doing that. Yeah. But I think it's no different than any other parent when it comes to their child. Yeah. You want your kids to be safe. You want your kids to have wonderful lives. Because that's just what every parent wants. Right. You find they find a career that makes them happy. Yeah. Something that makes them happy. that they're successful at whatever it is that they choose to do in life or whatever God has called them to do. And, you know, and of course, like later down the line, way later down the line, you want some grandbabies. And, and the circle of life just continues, you know, so.
Yeah. All right, so again, talking along those lines, man, you got 3 girls. You got a teenager, one that's going into her preteen. Dating. Where we at with this?
I used to be.
Yeah.
And I used to say I'm gonna be that dad, and I'm gonna be the overzealous, just no, like no boys.
Right.
Man, you can't do that. You just, as bad as you want to, you can't.
Right.
And I don't want my daughters to feel like they have to keep stuff from me and hide stuff from me. So even if it's hard for me to have a conversation with them, I'm going to make it comfortable for them to have a conversation with me.
Okay.
About any and everything.
Right.
So I ask questions. Hey, is there a boy you like? Hey, you know, how do you feel about this?
Yeah. You don't want to shut that door.
I don't want to shut the door because I feel like as parents, as much as it may hurt or, you know, bother you to hear something, you would rather know what's going on than to not what's going on.
Yeah.
So that's just how the way I mean.
Especially because we all know situations where girls have really, you know, strict parents, and they sneaking out. It's even worse.
It's worse.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so it's that balance.
Right.
So along, we're talking about balance, man, and you are in a unique situation, right? You're like, you know, obviously with all girls, you're like king of the castle.
Right.
But you and your wife have your relationship that you talked about, your individual relationship with each young lady that you have. But also, like, if you just sit back from everything, me looking at you, it's like, specifically in today's society, you're responsible, man, for the well-being of 4 black women.
Absolutely.
How do you carry that load?
It's a lot. Yeah. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I just try to. I've always tried to be that person to be 4 or 5 steps ahead.
Okay. Of
everything.
In what regard?
So I'm just silly stuff, protective instincts.
Yeah.
When if I have everyone with me, I got my wife and my girls with me, and I park the car, you know, I'm checking. I'm doing everything. Right. I have other things that help me feel a little bit more comfortable when I have them around.
Absolutely. It's Texas, man.
You know,
Texas.
so it's I have certain instincts, and I just try to be prepared at all times, man. It's just I also try to make them aware. Yeah. Because I don't want them to be helpless. Right. Like, I don't want them to be the type of women that's always depending. Oh, I got to depend on someone to protect me and to do this and that. No, you got to be able to protect yourself.
That's interesting. So the last few questions, man. You talked about, you know, that you want to make sure that, you know, you're putting productive women out there, that they have careers they're happy for. But just right now, day to day, how do you know when you're getting it right as a dad?
Man, sometimes, man, you still don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, you just kind of roll with it, man. I mean, this thing, like life. I mean, do you ever just have it? Right. Like, do you just get it? Right. No, I don't think it'll ever be a time if you're not. You know, there should never be a time where you're not growing. Right. But if my daughters, you know, as they do all the time, just random moments, man, like, and they all do it. It's just random. They'll come up, they'll give me a kiss. I love you, Dad. You know, or I'll be sitting down just watching a game or watching TV or something, and one of them will come and just lay on me and just love on me for a minute. Right. And like, all right, man, I'm done with you. Like, is it? But that gives me reassurance that they love me.
Good.
You know.
No, that's awesome, man. So Your expectations, right? Expectations, here's how I feel about them. They can be too high, but if you have no expectations whatsoever, that's equally as detrimental.
Right.
Right? So what are your expectations for your girls, and then what are your expectations for yourself as their father?
I put a lot of expectations on myself. Like I said, I just, when I'm no longer here, I want my girls to just say, my dad was the best.
Yeah.
There's no man that could take his place.
Absolutely.
Let's see. My expectations for them, was that the next question? My expectations for them is to find something that they genuinely love to do. Work hard at it. Give everything that you have. And if it's something that you love to do, try to find a way to make a living off of it. So
profit off your passion.
Profit off your passion, absolutely.
All right, so yeah, that's good, man. So again, college graduate, 3 kids, 3 girls.
Yeah.
One with autism. That's, flourishing. Thank God she's doing well. You guys, that takes a lot.
She's doing amazing.
One, and she's also in dance, which is a lot.
Right.
Because I don't know if people know, but dance has like a season as well. So there's no off season for real. It's constant.
When she dances company, man, it was like literally like 3 hours, sometimes 4 hours a day.
And we talking traveling and all kinds of stuff.
But like I said, that's the one thing
that's her thing
she loves. And when she's on that stage, I've seen her perform in front of hundreds of people.
She don't even think about it.
And you would not know that.
Wow.
She's probably the shyest girl.
Wow.
But when she gets on the stage, she lets loose. That's where she's free.
That is amazing to see.
I'll make sacrifices.
Right.
I'll do whatever it is I have to do to keep her doing
and
that.
then your middle daughter, who I've actually seen, like I watch highlights of her now that you post, and I'm like, in 2 years, this girl has made extreme strides.
Oh, man,
like she's like a legit dog right now. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I appreciate
like when I watch her hoop, I'm like, hold on, we got something here. Like this ain't just no little 12-year-old just out here doing whatever. I mean, whatever. But then you have your 8-year-old. She's 8, right? 7-year-old. So and then you have your wife.
Right.
And then you work in education.
Right.
And then you also are a personal trainer.
Absolutely. Yep.
Doing all that, man, and being still successfully holding down a household to where it's running like the machine that we all hope our houses run. Do you have any advice for young fathers or young men who have aspirations to be a father?
I would just say, always be honest with your kids. Show them plenty of love, even if it's tough love. You got to find the key word, if I had to say anything, and I know it sounds, again, really cliche, balance.
Balance.
You can't have too much of one or not enough of one. You got to provide it all. Discipline, love, sit down, have conversations with your kids.
Right.
I think that's key. Talk to your kids and allow your kids to talk as well. I think
key.
We grew up in a time. Hey,
you don't ask why.
Don't ask why. Shut up.
Because
I told you so.
Yeah.
And we've given our girls permission,
right,
in a respectful manner.
Yeah. We're not gonna get crazy.
No.
Yeah.
Now sometimes we still have those moments. You know what? No, don't ask me nothing. No, you can't ask me a question. Just go do it.
Yeah.
But for the most part, okay, what's on your mind?
Right.
And
the floor is still open though. Even if I say the reason why you're doing this is because I want you to do it.
Right.
I told you so.
Right.
That's it. But the floor is still open.
Right.
But I didn't mean to cut you off. But here's what I think about leadership, which is what fatherhood is. Right? Is do I have to? Is it a requirement for me to tell you why? No. Should I be able to? Yes.
Yes.
Because if I can't tell you why we're doing something, and this is how I was when I was a coach, how are you supposed to buy into it?
Right.
Like, how does this apply to my life? If I'm just, why am I making my bed every morning?
Right.
Like, does it make sense? Maybe not, but you're building a routine. your room looks messy when your bed isn't made. Whatever the case may be. I like that you guys don't shut the door to the exploration, because now they own the information, right? Like, okay, this is why.
If you tie it to something, it'll make it easier for them to receive.
Right.
For the most part. So,
they're still kids.
Yeah,
right?
they're still kids.
As adults, we don't receive everything that we should receive. So lastly, man, which is the question I like to ask at the end, I'm big on just, when you leave, what do people say about you when you're not around? And then nothing is more important than, because your kids are like your billboards.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So if you had to, I know this is kind of a nuanced question, but if you had to say, excuse me, what you want your fatherhood legacy to be, like, what do you want your daughters to say about you when they go out into the world?
I just want them to say that that they have a father that supports them wholeheartedly and will always be there for them. And whether they fall, I'll be the first one there to pick them up. And whenever they accomplish or achieve something, I'm gonna be the first one there to celebrate them.
Meet them at the finish line.
I'm gonna be there in every aspect.
Absolutely. That's awesome, man. So, Derek, my brother, I appreciate you.
Appreciate you for
Listen,
having me, man.
I love you. I'm proud of you.
Same to you.
You know,
man.
and these are conversations that we have to have. I learned something here. I don't have any daughters yet, but I can only imagine, man. And still, I want to drive home the point. Just being in education, that special education is important if they need it.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? We don't want to overdiagnose.
No.
But if you need it, you need it. We all need something.
Yes.
You know, if you need it, I have to write stuff down.
Right.
You know, it's everybody needs something, man.
It's there. Take advantage of it.
It's a tool.
And I mean, you don't have to be. The autism umbrella now is so broad. It is so broad that people, the word autism just scares people.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't.
It's nothing to be afraid of.
It's nothing to be afraid of.
It's nothing to be afraid of. So for me, again, you can find me Instagram at TJ Void, the show at the Fatherhood Show. Make sure you engage with us. We definitely want to hear your stories as well. Derek, if you want to give people information, if they want to follow you. Derek's a personal trainer, which is something, before we leave, something I want to ask you about real quick. You and your wife have both trained for like competitions, which means you have to eat a certain way. You got to work out a certain amount. How in the world did y'all do that with kids? Like, kids have the worst diets because their taste buds are garbage.
To tell you the truth, I mean, they had their days, but they loved eating the foods that we ate. Whenever we ate fish, they ate fish. When we ate chicken, they ate chicken. Like, man. I mean, they ate it, but don't get me wrong. They had them days. Hey, Chick-fil-A is always on the menu for them.
Yeah, my son be looking at me like, I'm not eating that, bro. I don't care what you do. That's not happening.
I mean, they did it, man. So, but
so that's so if somebody wants to find you, train with you, because he still trains actively, right? How would they get in touch with you?
You can follow us on Instagram. My page is dflowfit on IG, and my wife's page is Mrs. Flora, and just follow us. If you got any questions or if you need some information, we have a Facebook page as well, F3 Training. So the F and the number 3 Training on Facebook, and you can inbox us and we can set something up to get you all the information you need.
That's right. And Derek didn't ask me to do this, but I'm going to say, if you have any question, if your kid has autism, or you think that your kid is on the spectrum, get a community. That community is important because we can bounce ideas off of each other, and you're not in this alone. All right? So again, I'm TJ Void. This is Derek Flora. Thank you.
Thank you.